This session, we're going to discuss inventory recounts and how it affects your general ledger. So we're going to go to Setup. I'm going to go pull up some inventory here. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for all part numbers that have AF in them, and description is air filter. We're going to go look in our automotive service profit center. We're going to hit search. So here's the current list of all of these parts. Now what happens in here is sometimes your inventory counts get off. For example, here I have this AF456. I showed I have 3 in stock. Well, what if I don't have 3 in stock? I want to change this count so I have an accurate count. So if I open this up by double clicking, then I can go in here and recount. So anytime I recount, it's going to start with the actual quantity that it's showing, which is 3, or cost per unit. Cost per unit. So if I don't have 3 in stock and I actually only have 1, then I just change it to 1. Now what's going to happen is your inventory value is going to drop by those 2. So if I save it, and let's go over to General Ledger and take a look. So we're going to go pull up our recount adjustment. Open it up for the day. Here is where I made the adjustment. So what I've done is I've increased the expense side of my income statement. What I've also done is reduced the inventory value. So if I go look at my stocking inventory, now that has reduced. So anytime you're doing these adjustments for counting purposes in the inventory, it's always adjusting the recount expense and the inventory asset. Same thing goes if I were to recount it up. It's just the opposite way. Now, what a lot of people forget about when you're doing these recounts, let's open this back up. What if I want to recount this up, but this cost per unit is different? So that gets a little bit tricky, because then I'm going to say, well, I actually have 3 of these, but my cost per unit is $25. So I'm counting it up. That's going to increase my asset value in my inventory. It's going to be a negative expense, plus it's going to be a little bit of higher price. Let's go look at the history. Recount down, recount down. See, it's pulling it out by what it was originally. Then here we recounted up 2 extra at 25 apiece. Now, why are these 2 different? Right here. Because they were bought at different times with different costs. That's all it is. So it does track each individual cost, each individual item. Now, when I go back to the GL, and I go look at my stocking inventory, there's the change. That's the change in price right there. And then if I go look at my recounts, same thing. Now, if you're not tracking this stuff in the Protractor system, you're tracking it outside of it, it's not that big an issue. But if you are trying to track your inventory values and recounting and make sure you're keeping everything straight, then this is where you're going to go to see what's going on. And that is how to do a manual recount in your inventory and how it affects the general ledger.